Hello and welcome back. The time has come for another review of a supply crate unboxing. Well, not so much an unboxing because all the parts got delivered to me separately. But in any case, about a week ago, I saw an email from Games Workshop that there were more supply crates available. I jumped on pretty quickly and bought them. And based upon how fast they sold out, I'd say they're still a pretty popular thing for Games Workshop. I would expect to keep seeing them given how successful they would appear to be. I'm recording in Australia, so my experience will be limited to what I got from the supply crates in Australia. From my understanding, everybody else that was in Australia that ordered it would have got the same thing, but the contents vary from country to country. There's a lot of speculation about this being used as a way for Games Workshop to clear some stock, which to me sounds like a likely thing. As a person who manages a business that has to also take care of age stock, this is certainly one way of moving stock is through these sort of creations of unavailability or this sort of concept that buy now or miss out type thing, a bit of a FOMO factor to get stuff. And I was interested, this is the second time I've bought these supply crates to see how they actually compared. Now, in Australia there were two. There was the Warhammer 40k one. So last time there was a Warhammer 40k one which was Imperium specifically. This one just said Warhammer 40k. And there was also an Age of Sigmar Grand Alliance Order. Now, I don't play Age of Sigmar. I am looking to get into Age of Sigmar and have actually started collecting a few armies. And all of the armies that I've been collecting, bar one, have all been from Grand Alliance Order. So I got a lot of Stormcast Eternals from Mortal Realms. I've bought some Daughters of Khaine. I've bought some Lumineth Realm Lords, and I've bought some Sylvaneth. And I understand that all of those fit in that Grand Alliance Order. So I thought, still not being an Age of Sigmar player, I'm still interested in buying the supply crate for Age of Sigmar and seeing how it goes. Now, interestingly enough, I found out after I ordered that in other countries there were more supply crates available. So I believe in the UK, on top of the 40k one and the Grand Alliance Order, there was also an Aelfs one or Elves for Age of Sigmar, which sort of worried me a bit because, as you might have heard, 3 of my armies in that sort of Age of Sigmar list are all elf armies, being Daughters of Khaine, Lumineth Realm Lords, and Sylvaneth. So I sort of thought, okay, am I going to get a whole bunch of Stormcast Eternals and Fire Slayers and whatever else fits in order? But in any case, I'd already ordered it, so I thought I'd just see what I get. The other interesting thing was that I jumped onto the Games Workshop e-store very quickly after getting an email, like I'd say within 10 minutes. And I added both items to my cart. And when I went to check out, it wouldn't let me. It kept telling me I had to add one non-dangerous item to my cart before I could check out. I tried removing it, I tried re-adding it, I tried logging in for a different browser. Every single one gave me the same error. You must add one non-dangerous item to your cart before you continue, which I'm guessing is an error you get if you were just trying to order spray cans, for example, or rattle cans. In any case, I ended up actually just adding in a miscellaneous web store only Eldar item I didn't have that I needed just to make it work. So just a support weapon platform, but that made it go through. And the supply crate turned around in less than a week, actually. So it wasn't technically considered a pre-order. So when it arrived today into my local Warhammer store, they let me take it straight away. Didn't have to wait till the weekend. So here I am now to tell you about what I got in my 2 crates. So I'll start off first off with the 40k one. And the first item I saw, because it's the biggest, is this Kill Team Killzone Morok terrain box set. So I don't play Kill Team, but of course terrain is good for. I play a bit of Kill Team, sorry, but I don't play a lot. But terrain's good for every version of the game. What I find interesting here is that the Kill Team Morok Killzone is effectively half, or a little bit more than half, of a Nachman terrain set, which is also still available from Games Workshop. So if you were to buy 2 Morok boxes, you would have as much or a little bit more terrain than you got in a Nachman box set for about the same price. So I would have thought that the Nachman box set would have been something they were overstocked on. And in fact, looking in my local Warhammer store, he still had Nachman box sets on the shelf, but none of the Morok box sets. So I was surprised that this was the one that was in there, but that's, of course, that comes down to the value. They need to keep it down to a certain value. They advertise this as being at least a 50% saving total. So I guess that's why they went with the Morok box set over the Nachman box set. On top of that, from the War 40k line, I also got Fabius Bile. Now, Creations of Bile is one of the forces I understand doing relatively well in the meta at the moment, along with Emperor's Children. Although that being said, I think that Bile himself doesn't feature in many of those lists. So maybe GW overstocked on Bile, thinking that he would be, sought after, given that the Creations of Bile list is doing well. But it seems that he's not really part of that meta right now. So maybe they were overstocked there. And then the third item was some Chaos Space Marine Havocs to add in as well. So look, for a Chaos player, you've got a character, you've got a heavy support choice, you've got a bunch of terrain. Certainly not something you could start playing 40k with, but certainly if you were a budding player, then a good way to start. And in fact, I wonder whether or not it would have made more sense for Games Workshop to actually advertise this as a Warhammer 40k Chaos supply drop. Although I don't know whether that was specific to the fact that it was Chaos in Australia and other factions somewhere else, and they wanted to have a single part for the whole globe. But it already it sold out in, I think, under a few hours. So there was no issue in terms of the demand for the product. I wonder if giving people more of an idea of what it might apply to would help people be, I guess, happier with the overall buying experience here. Now, one thing I did notice, I looked at the Games Workshop web store today and noticed that so Chaos Space Marine Havocs and Killzone Morok are both currently out of stock on the Games Workshop web store, which to me would imply that they sold enough boxes that they couldn't make any more because they had Fabius Biles left, but no more Killzone Moroks and no more Havocs. So obviously they've sold through all the stock they had of those models, and that was their limiting factor as to how many they could sell. Whether they had 3 or a dozen or 50 or 1,000, I don't know, but it did sell out relatively fast. Okay, so going on to the Age of Sigmar one, and once again, this is Age of Sigmar Grand Alliance Order. And it was actually 2 Vanguard boxes. So first off, I got the Vanguard Fireslayers, which I don't play. I have a history of playing Dwarf armies in Games Workshop games, which I will no longer do again for reasons I won't go into right now. But I've already, in the last hour, found somebody who I can move these guys onto. And then secondly, a Vanguard Daughters of Khaine box set as well. So I do collect Daughters of Khaine. Some people have told me, I said not being a Sigmar player, some people have told me that this Vanguard isn't a well put together Vanguard, that the old Start Collecting Daughters of Khaine box, which I've also got, was much better. That gave you, I think, like the Cauldron of Blood as well. But in any case, this is more stuff, and I had none of the Warlocks on horses, so I can add those to my army now as well. So I'll definitely keep those. And then once again, looking at the Games Workshop web store afterwards, Fireslayers Vanguard is now out of stock, and Daughters of Khaine Vanguard is still in stock. So they obviously stopped selling when they ran out of Fireslayers Vanguards. I don't know the meta that well on Age of Sigmar, so I don't know whether Fireslayers are big in the meta right now. I thought they were quite popular. Maybe I have a few friends that play them, but in any case, they must have had some excess stock, and so that's how we've ended up with this supply crate. So let's actually look at how that actually translates in terms of value for money. So looking at the 40k supply crate first off. So Killzone Morok here. These are all Australian dollar value numbers, by the way. So $185 for the Morok box set, $70 for Fabius Bile, and $90 for the Chaos Space Marine Havoc. So normally buying those models separately from Games Workshop at retail price would be $345. So the saving here is $175, or a saving of 50.7%. So pretty much right on, or very close to the 50% that they promised. You're only actually getting 7 models here, plus some terrain. So even though this one has like a really big box, I don't know whether there'd be some people going, oh well, I thought I would have got more for my money, or what. But I mean, the value is actually here. And if you use Chaos, and especially if you use Creations of Bile, this is effectively what you've got here was a free box of terrain to go with your Havocs, which are good in the meta, and Bile, who is part of that army. Talking about the Age of Sigmar side, we've got the Vanguard Fire Slayers, which gives you what is it, like nearly 20 models. I think it's actually says on the box. I think it is 26 models, and then 21 models in the Daughters of Khaine. So you've got 47 models here. Normally those together would be $390 Australian. The saving here is $195, so exactly to the cent, 50% discount for the Age of Sigmar Grand Alliance Order supply drop. And for me, effectively, I've already found someone to move those Fire Slayers onto, so that for me has led to a significant saving, effectively, in buying the Vanguard Daughters of Khaine to add to my Daughters of Khaine army. So just in terms of comparing that with other currencies, if you don't know by now, you should, that you don't pay the same price for Games Workshop products all around the world. Australia and New Zealand especially have a very much a bottom of the world tax. So I think I worked out that although the total cost or the total value of products here in Australian dollars converted at today's rate to pound sterling will be £195. If you were to buy these products today from Games Workshop UK in the UK, you'd be paying like £126 sterling for the 40k stuff. So there's certainly always going to be a bit of a bottom of the world price. And I get that. Once again, working in logistics, it costs money to ship these items around, especially because although Games Workshop products are quite light, they have a very high cubic weight. So whenever you're shipping goods, you pay for whatever is higher, the actual weight or the cubic weight. And the cubic weight of Games Workshop products would be actually much, much higher than their physical weight, unless you talk about books, but the books are done a bit differently. So I get that if you were moving a 40-foot container by ship of plastic miniatures, you're going to be paying very much for the volume of space they take up, rather than the amount of weight that they actually that they take up. But you can see here, so what cost me 170 Australian dollars, the equivalent of 116 US, 96 pounds or 109 euros, has got me the equivalent of 345 Australian dollars, 235 US, 195 pounds or 222 euro. And then similar numbers, a little bit higher on the Age of Sigmar side because there was more value there, but the discount at 50% is very, very similar. So that's just my experience in terms of how things were in Australia. I'm sure that there'll be other stories about how other people have done in countries around the world. But hopefully, I'd like to see more of these, because for me, it's interesting to buy it and to wait and see what it is. I was really glad that this time it was literally less than a 1 week turnaround from when I ordered it to when I got it. I wasn't there sitting there going, I made the right choice. I think last time I was watching their website to see what items seemed to be high in stock and then suddenly went down in stock. No, I had to wait like 5 days here before I had my stuff. And, I've got some more stuff to work on now. So definitely I'll be using those Havocs. I'll be using the Daughters of Khaine. Bile probably will sit there in case I ever choose to do creations of Bile in the future. And I think the Morag terrain, because I've already got Nachmund, I don't need more Morag terrain. I'll move them to a friend who loves collecting terrain. And also the Fire Slayers will go to another friend who's already been expressing interest in those. So yeah, and that's just a positive experience for me. I enjoyed this one like I enjoyed the last one. I found a use for every single item in the last one, except for Kaven Shrike, who I've been keeping just in case they ever do Primaris jump packs. I'll use that to do a conversion of a character with a Primaris jump pack. So I'm sure I will use Kaven Shrike at some point in the future. Everything else got used or sold on or given to friends to help out. I think even the knight from the last one got used as a prize from the channel too. So look, if you enjoyed this, please feel free to watch my channel. I post other 40k stuff from time to time, including my experiences with our Crusade games, and I guess if anything interesting comes up in 40k in general. I'm not a really big news site like something like Allspecs Tactics. I just sometimes find something interesting and I decide to post about it on YouTube. So I hope this was informative to you. I hope this was interesting to watch, and I will see you next time.